where am I going to create my drawstring now? This is already on the outside, so I'm going to weave in and out all the way around, in and out, in and out. And I want it to be an even pull. So it doesn't have to be exact, but I'm going to, since this is already on the outside, my next step is to go in. So I'm just going to skip this inward ridge and insert here. Yours doesn't have to be in this exact same spot, but if you can get it as close as you can to the edge without splitting any yarn if possible. Mine, I like to go underneath at least 2 strands of yarn just because that makes me feel more secure. So I'm going to pull that through and then do the same thing, but coming in from the other side. So I just inserted here in this raised ridge. So I'm going to skip this low ridge and now insert coming back forward. Again, hopefully under 2 strands and without splitting them. All right. I'm going to skip this and insert here under 2 strands, trying not to split them. If I just know that I'm going to skip a dip and then insert in the raised area, then that lets me know that they're going to be evenly spaced out. So you can see here, here. So I'm going to just do that going all the way around the hat. Skip the dip and come back through 2 strands. All right, we're getting there. If it ever happens to you that you have accidentally, like, see, I just went from front or outside to inside, but I didn't notice, and then I went outside to inside again. All you got to do is just insert your needle back in the exact same spot where you put it previously and pull it out. Or you could take the needle off and just pull the yarn out of that last insert that you made. These are all things that I have done over the time that I've been crocheting. And so that's how I know how to work through them, work around them, undo them, redo them, whatever the case may be, to get the desired outcome. All right, almost to where we started. You can tell that I split that one right there. So I'm going to do that again, making sure I'm going under the whole strand best I can. Let me go ahead and insert one more time. I'm going to just do it nearby. There we go. All right, here we go, guys. We have made our drawstring. And now we're going to intentionally seam this bad boy shut. So here we go. And I'm leaving my needle on because I'm going to need this shortly. Making sure the tail is out of the way. I'm going to kind of grab this together first instead of just doing it from flat. And here we go. It's hard to explain, but I'm trying to make sure it evenly cinches in. That's why I kind of move my hand around to make sure that the whole project gets drawn into the center. And you can see it going. I'm gonna just turn a bit and continue to pull snug. Continue to pull snug. Don't want to pull too hard because then if this yarn breaks, then that's a pain, but just want to make sure it seems like every piece has kind of accordionized. Yeah, that's what I said, and that's the best thing I could try to explain, but like accordionized itself to the center of this hat. And I'm gonna just try to hold it as tightly as I can like that. So the direction that my drawstring was going, or the way that I weaved it, was around like this, clockwise. So that's what I'm going to continue to do. I'm going to weave clockwise around the center of this hat. Here is obviously the hole, and I'm going to pick up where I left off. So here's where my yarn is. And I'm going to show y'all too how this works, like the dynamics of it. Like you can see that this hat, like when I say it's been accordionized, like it's shaped like an accordion. And what's important for me is that I'm weaving around the inside points of this accordion, the points that are closest to the hole. I don't want to weave around the outside because how do I want to seam up this thing as closely to the center as I possibly can. So I'm inserting kind of picking up in the area where I left off, and I'm pulling tighter, but I'm inserting on the inside as close to the middle as I can be. See? This green portion, this green row, has an inside and an outside. And I don't want to seam the outside, I want to seam the inside first and seam this thing up. So I am intentionally and meticulously working my seams there. For me, my next one is down a little bit, but it's right there. So I'm not going to skip over that. I'm going to work into this portion. Here's where I'm going to pick up. Even though it's down a little bit, I'm going to grab what I can from it, even if it's under one strand. And I'm trying to seam this hole together as tightly as possible. So see, when you do that, you can continue to pull tight. It's closing it even more at the center. Here. See it get tighter? Continue to pull. And if hopefully you can tell now there's a distinction, especially under the ones that I have sewn shut already, that these are the inside points versus the outside points of each row. And I'm going to continue to work into the inside ones. So it looks like my next one is down in here. So I'm gonna go get it. I'm not going like down into the hat, but just the edge of this row that was in the middle. And pull snug. I'm gonna go under here. And pull snug. And you can see it snuggle up each time. So I've made it all the way around almost. I'm just go through here, and that should make the whole inside of this hat look like it's been sewn together. So the hole is pretty much gone there anyway. Making sure I don't go down too far, because I don't want this string or this yarn to show from the other side of the hat either. So there's a lot to think about if you really, really think about it. It's sewing the inside points of each row and doing it basically on to make sure that the seams don't dig so deep that you would see them from the other side of the hat. It's making sure that when you seam, you're keeping your needle and yarn on this wrong side of the project. I'm going to go over where I went previously just to make sure that's fully closed. Take a picture of that. That looks like exactly what I'm trying to show y'all. This one's a bit up, and I don't know why, but that's okay. At this point, and when I say a bit up, I mean a little bit more raised up than the others. But this is the wrong side of the hat, so a lot of this has to do with just, you know, making confident decisions, having faith in how it's going to turn out. So now here's what I'm going to do. Making sure to just work where I don't insert the needle so deep that it goes to the other side. But I'm going to start working across the center. This is the center, and I've cinched it up really tightly. But now I want to work like, you know, horizontal, vertical, diagonal, so that it can't loosen. So I'm going to insert here and come across here. I still only want to insert my needle on the inside points of this. I don't even know what to call this structure. I'm still not sewing anything of the outside. I feel like that will cause bulk. So I'm going to pull it and pull it tight. All right, so I went from here to here. Now I'm going to go from here, come across the other way, pull it through a little bit so I can insert it over on this side now and pick up on this side. That's going to bring these together this way, like the other ones went this way. And pull this through. It's really closing up the hole. So I can tell I just went up to down. Now I'm going to go probably maybe left or right to left one more time, and then I'm going to let that be it, because I'm feeling pretty confident about how this is going to turn out. Alrighty, that feels secure. My hand needs a break. So here's how I'm going to secure it. The reason I told you before that I like to start my seam from the end that is opposite of the tail is because I'm going to use this in kind of closing this up. So I seam up so that now this and this are on this side. So I'm just going to snip so I can make my knots. I will make knots. I don't play that because I'm going to lose stuff. So I just make knots like that because that's pretty easy to do. I'm going to do that probably 3 or 4 times. And for me, when I snip these off, I don't try to make it seamless on the inside of the hat anymore, because I have gifted hats to people, or they've bought them, or whatever the case is, and I've seen them wearing them inside out because they couldn't tell. You know, if they're not crocheting, they don't know the difference from what I'm considering the right side to the wrong side. So now what I do is snip like this, and that works kind of like, hey, this is the tag of your item. This is the part that shouldn't show. This is the part on the inside. All right, moment of truth. Here is our seam from the wrong side. Let's flip it out. And look at this hat. Ooh-wee. Yes, that looks fabulous. And let's check out the top of this hat, you guys. I'm really now pulling and stretching. I'm trying to stick my finger through the middle. See how it looks like if I press it down really hard. Can I see in there? Do I see a hole? And I don't. If I pull apart pretty hard, I can see a little bit of the yarn stitching, but you know, just on the regular, that looks like a pretty nice seam for the top of a hat. You can add a pom-pom to it, or you can just rock it. That's a cute beanie.